I never thought a single evening could change my life. But sometimes the strangest moments leave a mark so deep you can't go back. It began with laughter. Not the cruel kind, but the kind that's playful, warm, almost conspiratorial. My girlfriend Emma had that kind of laugh, the kind that made you want to lean in and ask what secret she was hiding. I didn't know that night she was about to pull me into a secret of my own. We were sprawled out on her bedroom floor, surrounded by open bags of chips and a half-finished puzzle we had given up on. The glow of her fairy lights painted the walls in soft gold. Everything felt ordinary, until it didn't. "Hey," she said, her voice dipping low with mischief. "I dare you to try something for me." I looked up, suspicious but intrigued. Emma's dares had a history. Sometimes silly, sometimes wild, always unforgettable. I grinned. "Depends. What's the catch?" Her eyes glittered as she slid her closet door open. And there it was, a shimmer of fabric, colors that seemed too soft and beautiful for me to even look at without feeling out of place. Dresses. Dozens of them. Hanging like they were waiting for me. "You're not serious," I said, half laughing, half frozen. "Oh, I'm very serious." She pulled one out, a pastel pink dress with delicate straps and a flowing skirt. She held it up against me, tilting her head like she was imagining a painting. "It would look adorable on you." The word adorable hit me in the chest like a strange kind of thunder. Adorable wasn't a word I ever thought would belong to me. Strong maybe. Goofy sometimes. But adorable? That belonged to someone else's world. I should have said no. I should have laughed it off. But the way she looked at me, like she wasn't teasing but actually waiting for me to say yes, made my throat tighten. "Emma," I started, unsure how to finish. She smiled gently, softer this time. "It's just us. No one else. I just want to see." "Please?" Her voice had this way of making impossible things sound simple. And that was the moment, the quiet little crack in my ordinary world. I didn't know it yet, but by agreeing to that one dare, I wasn't just slipping into a dress. I was stepping into a version of myself I'd buried so deep I didn't even know it was there. And maybe, just maybe, I was about to find out that Emma already knew me better than I knew myself. I should probably explain who I was before that night. Or at least, who I thought I was. I'd always been the kind of guy who blended into the background. Not invisible, exactly, just not the type who ever made the room stop and stare. I wasn't the loudest, or the funniest, or the one with big dreams everyone cheered for. I was just me. The kind of me who wore plain jeans and hoodies, who never took risks, who preferred listening to music with headphones instead of blasting it through a speaker. And yet somehow, Emma noticed me. Emma was everything I wasn't. She had this spark, like she carried sunlight inside her wherever she went. She could walk into a crowded room and instantly pull everyone's attention without even trying. She laughed loudly, spoke with her hands, and had this effortless confidence that made people lean in closer just to catch her words. I used to wonder what she saw in me. Maybe she liked that I wasn't trying so hard. Maybe she liked that I let her shine without ever competing. Whatever the reason, the day she said yes to being my girlfriend, I felt like I had stepped into a story that didn't quite belong to me, but I wasn't about to give it back. Our relationship was a mix of ordinary and extraordinary. Ordinary in the way we bickered about movies, or who had to wash the dishes, or how many pillows were too many on the bed. Extraordinary in the way she looked at me sometimes, like I was braver than I knew, like she was waiting for me to catch up to something she already saw. But if I'm being honest, there was always this quiet undercurrent between us. Moments where she'd tease me, calling me pretty instead of handsome. Times she'd brush my hair out of my face and tilt her head, almost like she was trying to imagine me differently. Little jokes about princess treatment that made my ears burn even though she laughed like it was nothing. I told myself it was just Emma being Emma. Playful, unpredictable. But somewhere in the back of my mind, I wondered if she saw something in me I couldn't, or wouldn't, see in myself. That Saturday evening, before the dare that changed everything, was just another glimpse into our ordinary. I remember sitting on the floor of her room, the carpet soft under my legs, as we half-heartedly tried to piece together a puzzle of a starry night sky. Emma insisted puzzles were romantic, though she was way more interested in eating the snacks than actually finishing it. "Do you realize we've been working on this for 3 weeks and we're still stuck on the corners?" I teased, holding up 2 identical-looking blue pieces. Emma shrugged, popping a chip in her mouth. "It's about the journey, not the destination." "Easy for you to say. You've spent more time reorganizing the colors than actually solving it." She grinned, leaning closer. "Maybe I just like watching you concentrate. You get this little wrinkle in your forehead when you're frustrated. It's cute." I rolled my eyes, though my cheeks warmed. "Cute? That's not exactly the most manly compliment, you know." Her smile softened, almost like she was testing me. "Maybe you don't always need to be manly." That sentence lingered in the air longer than it should have. She didn't say it like a joke. She said it like she meant it. I changed the subject quickly, asking about her classes, her latest art project, anything to push the warmth in my chest back down. But her words stuck with me like a splinter I couldn't quite pull out. Later that evening, as we lounged against her bed, I found myself studying her posters, the fairy lights that lined her wall, the little collection of makeup on her vanity. It was all so undeniably Emma, soft, colorful, full of life. I wondered what it would be like to belong in a space like this, instead of always feeling like a visitor. "Hey," she suddenly said, her voice pulling me out of my thoughts. "Do you ever feel like you're hiding something from yourself?" I blinked, caught off guard. "What do you mean?" She picked at the hem of her blanket, her usual playful energy dimmed. "Like, maybe there's a version of you haven't let yourself meet yet. Because it feels scary, or because people wouldn't understand. But deep down, you know it's there." I swallowed hard. Her words felt too close to something I couldn't name. "I don't know," I muttered. "Maybe. Sometimes I feel like I'm not enough. Like I'm stuck in the role people expect from me, but it doesn't quite fit. If that makes sense." Emma's eyes softened in a way that made me uneasy, like she was seeing right through me. "It makes perfect sense." Her voice was gentle, almost knowing. But before I could ask her what she meant, she laughed, springing up to her feet. "Anyway. Enough serious talk. I've got an idea." That was Emma. She'd open a door into something deep and then slam it shut before I could step through. Only this time, I didn't realize how far that door would swing open before the night was over. Looking back now, I can see the signs. The little comments. The playful nudges. The way she seemed to already believe I could be something more, someone more. But in that moment, I was still just me. Ordinary, comfortable, unaware of the storm of lace and laughter and self-discovery about to unravel my world. And maybe that's what made it so powerful. Because when the shift finally began, I wasn't ready. I wasn't prepared. And that made every step of it feel like falling and flying at the same time. It started with a dare. Or maybe it started long before that, with all the tiny seeds Emma had been planting without me noticing. Either way, when she slid open her closet door and pulled out that pink dress, my world tilted. "Come on," she said, grinning as she held the hanger against my chest. "It'll be fun." I laughed nervously, pushing it back. "Yeah, right. You just want a good laugh at my expense." Emma arched an eyebrow. "Do I look like I'm laughing?" She didn't. Her eyes sparkled with mischief, sure, but underneath was something steadier, curiosity, maybe even hope. That threw me off more than the dress itself. "Emma," I started, but she cut me off with a playful pout. "Please? Just for me? You always say you'll do anything for me." Was that a lie? She knew exactly what strings to pull. I groaned, dragging my hands over my face. "You're impossible. And you're stalling." She shoved the dress into my arms before I could protest again. The fabric was lighter than I expected, soft against my skin. almost too soft. My throat tightened. Fine, I muttered. But if I look ridiculous, it's on you. Emma's grin widened. Deal. She pointed toward the bathroom, and I shuffled in with the dress clutched against me like contraband. Closing the door behind me, I leaned against it and exhaled. What was I doing? This wasn't me. I wasn't the type to wear something like this. And yet, staring at the dress in my hands, I couldn't deny a flicker of curiosity. What would it feel like? What would I look like? I shook the thoughts away and focused on getting it over with. Slipping off my hoodie and jeans, I carefully pulled the dress over my head. The fabric slid down my body like water, pooling around my legs. It was a little snug in the chest but surprisingly comfortable. I caught sight of myself in the mirror and froze. It wasn't that I looked good. Not yet, anyway. My hair was messy, my shoulders broad, my expression unsure. But there was something there, something I couldn't define. A softness I didn't expect. A glimpse of a version of me that didn't feel like a joke. Before I could overthink it, Emma's voice called through the door. Are you done yet? Don't make me break in. I hesitated, then opened the door slowly. Emma's eyes widened, and for a moment, she said nothing. The silence made my stomach twist. Then she smiled. Not a mocking smile. Not a laugh. A real smile, soft, warm, almost proud. Oh my God, she whispered. You're adorable. I looked down at myself, fidgeting. I look stupid. No, she said firmly, stepping closer. You look right. That word hit harder than I expected. Right. Like this wasn't just a silly game. Like she saw something I didn't. I swallowed hard. It's just a dress. Emma tilted her head, studying me like I was a puzzle she was close to solving. Maybe. But maybe it's more. Her words made my chest tighten, and I didn't know if it was fear or excitement. Maybe both. Of course, Emma wasn't done. Trying on one dress was only the beginning. Sit, she ordered, pushing me gently onto the edge of her bed. What now? I asked warily. She held up her makeup bag with a grin. Accessories. Absolutely not. Absolutely yes. She leaned down, her face inches from mine. You said you'd trust me, remember? I sighed, defeated. You're relentless. And you secretly love it, she teased, already opening the bag. The next half hour was a blur of brushes, powders, and Emma's playful commentary. I flinched every time she dabbed something on my face, but she just laughed. Relax. I'm not painting a wall, I'm painting art. When she finally handed me the mirror, my breath caught. It wasn't perfect, her eyeliner was a little uneven, and the lipstick smudged at the corner of my mouth, but it was enough. Enough to change the way I saw myself. Enough to make me wonder what else was possible. I stared at my reflection, at the softness in my features I'd never noticed before. It wasn't just Emma's handiwork. It was me. Emma watched me carefully. What do you think? I don't know. She smiled gently. I think you're beautiful. The word made my heart race. No one had ever called me that before. Handsome, maybe. Cute, occasionally. But beautiful? That was new. That was dangerous. I set the mirror down, unable to meet her eyes. This doesn't mean anything. Doesn't it? She asked softly. Her question lingered long after I changed back into my hoodie and jeans. But even then, when the dress was folded neatly on her chair and the makeup wiped away, something inside me felt different. Like a door had opened, and no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't close it again. That night, lying awake in my bed, I replayed it all in my head, the weight of the dress, the softness of the fabric, the look in Emma's eyes when she said I looked right. I told myself it was just a dare. Just a silly game. But deep down, I knew better. Because the truth was, for the first time in a long time, I didn't feel like I was pretending. And that scared me more than anything. For the next couple of days, I tried to convince myself that nothing had changed. That night with Emma was just a silly experiment, nothing more. People did dares all the time, put on goofy outfits, play pretend, laugh, move on. That's all it was. Except, it didn't feel like that. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw the way Emma had looked at me. Not with amusement. Not like she was watching me make a fool of myself. But with this quiet awe, like she'd been waiting for me to step into that version of myself all along. And worse, I saw myself. The reflection in the mirror. The softness. The strange, unshakable sense that for a fleeting moment, I hadn't been pretending. I tried to bury it, to push the thoughts away. But the harder I tried, the more they pulled at me. A few nights later, Emma brought it up again. We were at her place, curled up on the couch with a blanket draped over us, half watching a movie neither of us were paying attention to. So, she said casually, her eyes on the screen. Been thinking about the other night? My stomach lurched. Not really, I lied. She smirked, finally glancing at me. Liar. I'm serious, I said quickly. It was just a dare. No big deal. Emma tilted her head, studying me. You looked in the mirror for almost a full minute without saying a word. That didn't look like no big deal to me. I swallowed hard, heat creeping up my neck. I just wasn't used to it. That's all. And now, she pressed gently. I hesitated. The truth was dangerous, but it slipped out anyway. Now I can't stop thinking about it. Emma's smile softened, and she squeezed my hand under the blanket. That's not a bad thing, you know. Maybe not for you, I muttered. But for me. I don't even know what it means. She leaned her head against my shoulder. It doesn't have to mean anything right now. It can just be something you explore. No pressure. No labels. Just curiosity. Her words settled something in me. Curiosity. That felt safer than identity. Safer than change. The next weekend, Emma pushed it further. I came over expecting another lazy night, but she had other plans. When I walked into her room, there was a neatly folded outfit waiting on the bed, not just a dress this time, but tights, a cardigan, even a pair of flats. I froze in the doorway. You've got to be kidding. Emma grinned, perched on her desk chair. What? I thought my princess deserved options. Princess? I sputtered. She winked. What, you don't like the sound of that? My face burned, and I stammered for a reply. But the truth was, the word did something to me. Something dangerous. Something I didn't want to admit. Emma stood and walked over, placing her hands on my shoulders. Just try it. For me. For us. I promise, I won't laugh. I shook my head weakly. This is insane. Maybe. But don't you want to know? She asked softly. That question undid me. Because yes, I wanted to know. I wanted to know what it would feel like. I wanted to know why the thought made my heart race, why it scared me and thrilled me at the same time. So I gave in. The moment I slipped into the outfit, something shifted. The tights hugged my legs snugly, almost comfortingly. The cardigan softened the dress, made it feel less like a costume and more like clothing. Real clothing I could belong in. When I stepped out, Emma gasped and clasped her hands together dramatically. Oh. My God. You're perfect. Stop, I groaned, though I couldn't hide my smile. She circled me slowly, her eyes twinkling. No, really. You look natural. Like this is who you were meant to be. My chest tightened. The words scared me, but they also lit something inside me I couldn't put out. Don't exaggerate, I muttered. I'm not, she said firmly. And you know it. Her conviction shook me. Because part of me did know it. And admitting that felt like stepping off a cliff. Then came the name. Emma plopped onto her bed, patting the space beside her. So, if you're going to look like this, you need a name. Something pretty. Something that fits. I blinked at her. A name? You can't be serious. Dead serious. She tapped her chin thoughtfully. You look like a Lily. Or maybe Sophie. Or Emma. She grinned mischievously. What about Princess? I buried my face in my hands. You're ridiculous. Not ridiculous. Accurate. She leaned closer, whispering. Come on. Don't you want to know what it feels like to hear me say it? My breath caught. I didn't answer, but my silence was enough. She smiled softly. Princess. The word wrapped around me like a secret spell, both terrifying and comforting. My heart pounded, but I didn't pull away. Emma touched my hand gently. See? It's not so scary. But it was. It was terrifying. Because a part of me wanted to hear it again. Over the next few weeks, Emma found excuses to bring it up. Sometimes it was just a word slipped into conversation. Sometimes it was another outfit waiting when I came over. Sometimes it was makeup, or jewelry, or the way she'd braid my hair when I let it grow longer. Each time, I told myself I'd resist. Each time, I gave in. And each time, it felt less like play acting and more like peeling back layers I didn't know I had. I still wrestled with shame. I still told myself it didn't mean anything. But the more Emma smiled at me, the more she whispered princess, the harder it was to believe my own excuses. Because deep down, I was starting to like who I was becoming. And that was the scariest part of all. The first time I realized I wasn't just going along with Emma, but actually wanting it, I almost scared myself. It was a rainy Sunday, one of those days where the world felt gray and heavy. I showed up at Emma's place in my usual hoodie and jeans, damp from the drizzle, ready to do nothing but lounge. But Emma had other plans. She greeted me at the door with a mischievous smile and held out a small box. For you. I blinked. For me? She pressed it into my hands, practically vibrating with excitement. I opened it slowly, and inside lay a delicate silver necklace with a tiny heart-shaped pendant. I frowned. Emma, this looks like something you should be wearing, not me. She shook her head firmly. Nope. It's yours. I hesitated. I can't wear this. You can, she said gently. And you will. Because it'll look perfect on you. Her confidence disarmed me. With trembling fingers, I lifted the necklace and clasped it around my neck. The metal was cool against my skin, but when Emma's eyes lit up, I felt warm all over. There, she said softly. Beautiful. I touched the pendant nervously. It feels weird. Weird good or weird bad, she asked. I paused. Weird good. Emma's smile deepened. That's what I thought. From that day on, things shifted. It wasn't just Emma coaxing me anymore. I started volunteering. When she asked if I wanted to try a different dress, I didn't argue, I just asked which one. When she teased me with new shades of lipstick, I found myself leaning in before I could second guess. When she called me princess, I didn't protest anymore. My chest tightened every time, but it was no longer out of embarrassment. It was something else. Something I didn't want to name yet. One evening, we were sitting on her floor with makeup scattered around us. Emma was teaching me how to apply eyeliner. My hands were clumsy, the lines shaky, but she just laughed softly and guided my fingers. Relax, she said. It's not about perfection. It's about expression. I glanced at her. Expression of what? She met my eyes, her voice calm and steady. Of you. Whoever you want to be. Her words sank into me like rain into dry soil. Whoever I wanted to be. For so long, I hadn't even asked myself that question. I just existed. Did what was expected. Stayed safe. But sitting there, eyeliner smudged and Emma's hand steadying mine, I felt a strange spark. Like I was glimpsing someone inside me who had been waiting for years to breathe. The turning point came during a small party at one of Emma's friends' houses. I hadn't planned to go, but Emma insisted. "It'll be fun," she promised. "And I have the perfect outfit for you." My stomach dropped. "Wait, you mean?" She grinned. "Yep. You're coming as my princess." I almost backed out. The idea of being seen, really seen, was terrifying. But Emma's faith in me was unshakable. And some reckless part of me wanted to test it. So I let her dress me up. A soft lavender skirt, a fitted top, flats that made me feel strangely elegant. She braided my hair, brushed light makeup across my face, and when I looked in the mirror, I didn't see a joke. I saw possibility. Walking into that party was like stepping onto a stage. I was sure everyone would laugh. But they didn't. Emma's friends welcomed me with easy smiles. Some complimented my outfit, others giggled and called me cute, but none of it felt cruel. It felt real. Accepting. And for the first time I wasn't hiding. At one point in the night, I caught my reflection in a hallway mirror. The lavender skirt swished softly as I moved, the necklace glittered at my throat, and my eyes looked alive in a way I hadn't seen before. I didn't look like the me I'd always known. But I didn't want to. I wanted to be this. The realization hit me hard. Not as a whisper this time, but as a truth I couldn't deny. I liked it. I wanted it. I was choosing it. Later, when Emma and I finally slipped away from the noise, we sat outside on the porch steps. The cool air nipped at my skin, but I barely noticed. My heart was racing too fast. Emma nudged me gently. "You did amazing tonight." I laughed shakily. I thought I'd be terrified. But I wasn't. Not really. Her smile was soft, proud. "That's because you weren't pretending. You were just, you." I stared at her, emotions swirling too fast to untangle. "Emma, what if I like this too much? What if I don't want to stop?" Her hand found mine, fingers lacing through. "Then don't stop." The simplicity of her answer stunned me. Like it was that easy. Like the world wouldn't crumble if I let myself want this. "Princess," she whispered, her voice tender. "You don't have to be afraid of who you are." And for the first time I believed her. That was the midpoint. The moment everything shifted. Because after that night, I wasn't being pushed anymore. I was stepping forward on my own. The night after the party, I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw myself twirling in that lavender skirt, saw the way Emma's friend smiled at me, saw my own reflection glowing with something I hadn't known I was missing. It should have felt freeing. And it did. Part of me felt like I was soaring. But another part of me was terrified. Because once you taste freedom, the cage doesn't disappear. It just feels smaller. And I didn't know how long I could keep pretending I was fine with slipping back into the bars. The pressure built slowly over the next week. In public, I was my old self, hoodie, jeans, hands shoved in my pockets. But with Emma, I was different. I found myself asking questions I never thought I'd ask. What color lipstick suited me? Did this skirt look better than the last? Could she braid my hair again, just to see? I was slipping. The line between who I had been and who I was becoming blurred more each day. And then came the breaking point. It happened on a Friday night. Emma had invited a couple of close friends over for a movie marathon. I wasn't nervous, they already knew about my princess side, and they'd been nothing but kind. But halfway through the night, one of them, Sarah, made an offhand comment. "You two are seriously the cutest couple. I mean, look at her. She's glowing." Her. The word froze me. Emma beamed, squeezing my hand. I know, right? But my chest tightened. Not with joy. With fear. Her. Was that really me? Did they all see me that way now? Was I supposed to be okay with that? I excused myself quickly, muttering something about needing air. Outside, the night was cool and quiet. I gripped the railing of Emma's porch, my breath shallow. What was happening to me? Just weeks ago, I was ordinary. A guy in a hoodie, invisible in the background. And now people were calling me her. And the terrifying part was, I didn't hate it. But I wasn't ready to admit I liked it either. The door creaked open behind me, and Emma stepped out. Hey. You okay? I shook my head, unable to look at her. I can't do this. She frowned. Do what? This. All of this. My voice cracked. I don't know who I am anymore. One second I feel alive, and the next I feel like I'm losing myself. What if this is all a mistake? What if I'm just confused? Emma's voice softened. Do you feel confused when you're with me? When you're dressed up, when I call you princess? I swallowed hard. No. That's the problem. It feels right. Too right. Then why run from it? She asked gently. Because what if people don't accept me? What if I don't accept me? My hand shook against the railing. I don't even know who I am anymore, Emma. Am I your boyfriend? Am I your princess? Am I both? Neither? I don't know how to be all these things at once. For the first time, Emma looked at me not with teasing mischief or quiet confidence, but with raw vulnerability. You don't have to know right now, she whispered. You don't have to pick a label or fit into a box. You're you. And that's enough for me. Her words cracked something open in me, and suddenly I was crying, messy, gasping sobs I couldn't control. Emma pulled me into her arms, holding me tightly as I shook. I'm scared, I choked out. I know, she murmured, stroking my hair. But you're not alone. That was the climax, not a dramatic scene with shouting or rejection, but something quieter and far more devastating, me finally admitting the truth. I was changing. I didn't know who I was becoming. And I couldn't go back. The confrontation wasn't with Emma, or Sarah, or anyone else. It was with myself. And as terrifying as it was, in Emma's arms, I felt the faintest glimmer of peace. The morning after my breakdown, the world felt strangely quiet. I woke up in Emma's bed, her arm draped lazily across me, her steady breathing grounding me in a way words couldn't. For a moment, I didn't want to move. I wanted to stay suspended in that stillness, where nothing had to be decided. But of course, the thoughts crept back in. Who was I now? What was happening to me? Could I really keep living two versions of myself, one in the outside world, one in Emma's? I must have shifted, because Emma stirred, her eyes blinking open. She smiled sleepily. Morning, princess. The word sent a shiver through me. Not fear this time, something warmer. Something steadier. Don't call me that first thing in the morning, I muttered, but there was no heat in it. Emma stretched, propping herself up on one elbow. Why not? It's who you are. I looked away. Is it? She reached out, tilting my chin so I'd face her. It's part of who you are. And you don't need to have all the answers right now. You don't need to put yourself in a neat little box. You're allowed to just exist. To try. To feel. To see where it takes you. Her words sank deep, quiet but undeniable. For so long, I'd thought I needed to define myself in order to deserve existing. But Emma, she was telling me maybe existing was enough. The days that followed weren't magical or easy. Some moments, I felt exhilarated, slipping into a dress, seeing the way Emma lit up when I twirled for her, hearing princess whispered like a secret meant only for me. Other moments, I felt crushed by doubt, staring at my reflection too long, wondering if I was fooling myself, wondering if I was breaking something I couldn't fix. But through all of it, Emma was there. Not pushing. Not demanding. Just steady. Her presence like a hand at my back, reminding me I wasn't alone. One evening, weeks later, I found myself standing in front of the mirror again. I was wearing a soft blue dress Emma had lent me, simple but elegant. My hair was brushed, makeup light but enough to soften my features. I studied my reflection quietly, heart pounding. And for the first time, I didn't immediately look away. I didn't see a joke. I didn't see a stranger. I saw me. Not the whole me. Not the final me. But a piece of me I was learning to love. Emma appeared behind me, wrapping her arms around my waist, her chin resting on my shoulder. Our eyes met in the mirror. "Beautiful," she whispered. I didn't argue. For once, I let the word settle into my bones. That night, as we curled up together, I asked the question that had been lingering in the back of my mind. "Emma, why me? Why do you believe in me so much, even when I can't?" She smiled softly, brushing her thumb across my cheek. "Because I see you. Even when you're scared. Even when you're confused. I see the parts of you you're too afraid to admit are real. And I love them. All of them." Tears stung my eyes, but this time they weren't from fear. They were from relief. Because maybe, just maybe, I didn't have to figure everything out right now. Maybe it was enough to be seen. To be loved. The story doesn't end with me declaring who I am once and for all. It doesn't end with a neat label or a perfect bow tied around my identity. It ends with something smaller, quieter, but just as powerful. It ends with me sitting here, holding Emma's hand, feeling the weight of the necklace against my skin, and whispering a word I never thought I'd claim as my own. Princess. The word feels strange, scary, wonderful. It feels like a beginning. And maybe that's all it needs to be. Sparkle's end of story.